Okay, so scleral buckling, conventional or modified, is it a dying art? Now, we don't have any financial disclosures to make. The treatment of rhegmatogenous retinal detachments and its complications continue to be one of the most important indications for vitreoretinal surgery, comprising about half of all surgical cases treated in a vitreoretinal surgical practice. Whenever we discuss about scleral buckles vis-a-vis vitrectomies for settling retinal detachments, there is always likely to be a lively debate. But like I mentioned, the wind is blowing out, and scleral buckles are finding it tough to hold up with. Even in cases of uncomplicated retinal detachments, scleral buckle is finding it difficult to hold on to the wind that is blowing in favor of MIVS. Of course, we need not forget all those smiling faces that we've treated all these years, and the retina nice and attached with 6/6/6/9 vision in many instances. Scleral buckling has long been considered the gold standard in treatment of, mind you, uncomplicated rhegmatogenous retinal detachment. The catchword here. Now, final anatomic success rates have been consistently rated as more than 90% and have been reported to be stable over 2 decades, but this word is very important. So the choice between vitrectomy and buckle, along with its technical specifications, varies significantly between surgeons and centers. However, both types of retinal detachment surgery still need to walk a mile or two and are still flawed by enduring shortcomings, such as 40% of the patient will not achieve reading ability of all rhegmatogenous detachments. 10 to 40% will need more than one surgical procedure, and about 5% of eyes will still have a permanent anatomical and functional failure. So we still have to catch up. Recent trends favor pars plana vitrectomy over scleral buckles, especially for pseudophakic rhegmatogenous retinal detachments. Pars plana vitrectomy affords a better ability to visualize all retinal breaks and tears, removal of media opacities and synechia, and opportunity to relieve vitreous traction. So this is the reason why the trend is shifting towards pars plana vitrectomy. And like Sinada mentioned, Dr. Tushar Sinha mentioned, smaller gauge vitrectomy, surgical trauma, surgical time, post-operative convalescence period, and post-operative inflammation is less, and that's how the patient is benefited. The patient wanted more, and patient is getting more out of MIVS. Now, is it all hearsay? Well, let's have a look. Retinal reattachment rates, summary of studies on phakics. Now, first the retrospective ones. Miki et al., 2001. Their study showed that retinal reattachment rates in the scleral buckle group was 100% compared to 96% in PPV, total of 225 eyes. Mansouri et al., 86% in the buckle group, 78% in pars plana vitrectomy group, 168 eyes. And they did combination of buckle and pars plana vitrectomy, and then that group had 84% reattachment rates. Now this result from 2008 showed that 86% of the buckle groups reattached, 78% of the pars plana vitrectomy group reattached, and when you do a combination, 84% reattached out of a total of 286 eyes. Heyman et al., this is a prospective study, 63.6% in the buckle group and 61.8% in the pars plana vitrectomy group. Now if you look at pseudophakics, it slightly reverses. Mansouri et al., 80% for buckles, 86.5% in the vitrectomy, and combination is 80% out of a total of 118 eyes. And this again in 2008, the TRI recurrent RD study group presented their findings. 80% in the buckle group, and in the pars plana vitrectomy group it was 87% reattachment rate. So let's look at some Indian studies by Sharma et al., 2005. Scleral buckles 76% versus pars plana vitrectomy 84%. Now remember, this is prospective. So this prospective, why I mentioned prospective, because these are studies that have been done with a purpose rather than looking back at records and extrapolating your ideas. So 76%, 84%. Look at this, Tangos et al., 98% cases settled. So and of course they had worse cases which probably needed an external support. So 92% in that group also. Brazetikos 83%, 94%. So the prospective studies, they present a different scenario. Heyman et al., the SPR study, 53 versus 72 out of a total of 265 eyes. So probably the cat is out of the bag. Now, let's look at the individual studies a little more. Scleral buckling versus primary vitrectomy in rhegmatogenous retinal detachment, what we commonly refer to as the SPR study. Now, what it showed, phakic group showed better BCVA results with scleral buckles. Pseudo-phakic or aphakic groups showed better BCVA results with vitrectomy. No statistically significant difference noted in attachment rates in both groups. And cataract progression was more in the PPV group. Of course, cataract is an issue, but then with today's armamentarium of cataract surgery and machines, cataract surgery is hardly anything to bother because patients get back good vision at the end of the day. And with scleral buckles, you have so many other problems to look into in the future. Let's look at this, a meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials. The conclusion was that there was no significant difference in the proportion of primary reattachment in pars plana vitrectomy and scleral buckle group in phakic eyes. Scleral buckles treated the phakic eyes had better postoperative visual acuity at 6 months or more. This is most likely related to higher rates of cataract progression in pars plana vitrectomy treated phakic eyes. Now it also goes on to say that there were no significant difference in proportion of primary reattachment and postoperative best corrected visual acuity at 6 months or more in pseudophakic aphakic eyes. So this is something that has been reiterated again and again. Now, this 2011 EVRS RD study, the main conclusion that emerged from the study was that no single procedure can be used for RRD cases. It's like something like, you have to have your horses and horses for courses. So you can't be dogmatic about this is what I'm going to use, I'm not going to use buckles or I'm not going to use vitrectomy. What you really need is an approach that is justified for the particular individual patient. So multiple strategies are necessary. So you don't need to extend vitrectomy to 100% of retinal detachment cases. It would be a dangerous thing. It would limit your ability also. So go ahead, do your buckles also, but then be justified. Don't fall into the trap of buckle can settle everything, because there are a lot of people who probably feel that way. Now, we actually need to look forward. The area in which further improvement needs to be achieved is the adjustment of surgical methods to the preoperative morphological situation, as the initial clinical presentation of rhegmatogenous retinal detachments will vary significantly. We need not forget that scleral buckle is not all about good vision post-operatively, but it is also about extraocular muscle dysfunction, choroidal detachments, anisometropia, post-operative pain, buccal infection, buccal extrusion. Maybe I can add on a few more things to this list. So in addition, it is known to be a difficult technique because today what has happened is in the fellowship courses, the number of buckles that are being done by the consultants are less. As a result, what actually boils down to is that the fellows get to see lesser buckles, they get to do lesser buckles during their training period. So that is one place where the AAO is looking in. Probably the AIOS will also come in, and we can have something of simulators or something that can help out the fellows in the future. But then it's something difficult in the sense that it requires a lot of skill and a lot of practice to do a very good buckle and decide what's best for the patient. So it needs experience at every step, from localizing tears to indenting the sclera, draining subretinal fluids. You drain more fluid, you drain at the wrong place, you'll end up in soup. But probably the best is saved for the last. If you look up at the SPR study once again, look at the objective to compare scleral buckling surgery and primary pars plana vitrectomy in rhegmatogenous retinal detachments of medium complexity. So medium is the catchword here. So more complicated detachments are usually treated with pars plana vitrectomy. So actually there is no fight between scleral buckles and vitrectomy. You have to pick and choose. You have to, be justified in what you are doing. But all hope is, like I mentioned, not lost for buckles. Young children with formed vitreous, inferior breaks, dialysis, single breaks, these are cases which you can safely handle with buckles. So feel free to do your buckles also, but don't be, dogmatic about buckles. So it's not time to term the buckle as a dodo bird and, put this buckle as a necklace on the dodo bird's neck. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thank you, Devdulal.